saw Quick's off IR. Is he starting tonight?
He's not starting. He's going to back up.
Just with Igor in general, what can you say about the job that he did while Quick was out? He obviously played a lot the last week and a half or so.
Yeah, I mean, he loves it first and foremost. In my conversations with him, he wants to be in the net every night, as most of those fierce competitors do. That's just been my experience with some of the elite goalies over the years. I think we've tried to do our best to manage his workload for most of the year up until most recently, which I think allowed us the opportunity to give him the consecutive starts that we have. But obviously that's not something that we want to do long term in the big picture. I think it's important that we continue to manage his workload. We were going to watch and see the progress that Quickie made and then make decisions from there. Quickie progressed extremely well, and so we're certainly very encouraged with where he's at right now.
Are there any other lineup changes tonight?
Everybody else is a game time decision.
Including Edstrom.
Eddie will not play.
I know with Fox out, you didn't want guys changing the way they played on the back end. Do you think though that it can, when there's a loss like that, it can lead to more focus and I guess making sure they're doing the smaller details right, knowing that he's not there?
Possibly. I think when you lose a guy of that stature, those guys are not easy. Those types are not easy to replace, as you know. And so I think right away it captures everybody's attention that everybody's going to have to be locked in, and we're going to try to do our best by committee to make up for that loss. And so I think the guys are competing hard back there. We're not asking anyone to do anything more, so to speak. We just got to be very good at what we do. And so, I think the guys are competing hard.
Mike, obviously Colorado's been the best team in the league this year. What have we seen from them when you scouted them? They have great players. We know that, a number of players. What have you seen from them in terms of their game that is a challenge for you guys this afternoon?
I just think they're one of the few teams in the league that don't seem to have a weakness. I think their goaltender is as strong as it's ever been. They've always had dynamic players, game-breaking players. I think their commitment to play defense, I think, has been impressive this year. I've always been a believer that it's hard to score your way to championships. You can have dynamic offensive people, but if you're not committed to play defense and keep the puck out of your net, it's hard to win a Stanley Cup. And so I think from what I've watched this year that the group is certainly committed to play defense as well. So when you combine that with the firepower and the capability that they have offensively, that's what makes them the team that they are. So, they have, two of the very best players in the game, with McCarr and MacKinnon, and they drive so much offense. I think their team speed is probably their biggest attribute. Just what they're able to do at such a high rate of speed is impressive.
Last one.
With MacKinnon, I'm curious, what from afar do you see that leads to him being able to kind of add new things to his game this year?
I think his appetite, to continue to grow and improve and get better. He reminds me a lot of Sid. I'm sure Sid has had an influence on him. That his friendship and relationship with him is obviously well chronicled, and but just his appetite to continue to want to improve and get better. He's hungry, and he puts the work in. That's my understanding, and so I think players like that. I think are unique. They're generational talents, but then they add a certain work ethic, to their daily process. I think that that's admirable. It's not by accident that these guys are as great as they are. They work at it extremely hard, and he's one of those guys.
Mike, just last one. You brought up Sid, and I'm doing a story. He's 7 points away from Mario's Penguins record of scoring. Mario played in fewer games, but you were with him for 10 years, so I may only get this one shot to ask before he gets the record. Just what does that signify to you? What does that mean? You were there for 10 years. What does that mean in that organization?
Well, I think anytime you're mentioned in the same company as Mario, that's elite company. And so, I think, when I was there, it just seemed like he was racking up milestone after milestone. It got to the point where, it didn't surprise any of us with all the milestones that he's racking up. I think this one here is just one more of those milestones that suggest that he's one of the greatest players of all time. And I think, what's most impressive about Sid is his longevity, his durability, his ability to sustain elite play, and well into his late 30s. I mean, it's remarkable what he's doing the last couple of years and continues to do right now. And I don't think that's by accident. I watched him up close and personal, and how he went about his business every day. He's one of the hardest working athletes that I've ever witnessed, and it's away from the cameras and away from what most people see every day. They see his brilliance on the ice. If you were to ask his teammates or his coaching staff or the people that are around him on a daily basis, I think what they'll tell you is that it's remarkable the consistency and of just his appetite to want to get better every day, and his willingness to put the work in.